Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a little shoot just to demonstrate how to remove film. That's it, a film in this old camera of mine that I love to use from time to time. This is the Nikon FM2, made somewhere between 1982 and 1987. It's actually the FM2n version. The N means new. And is actually signaled, or you can see it there at the front of the serial number. The N actually shows it there. That's it's to do with the flash sync on this dial here to be 1/250th. It might not be easy to see, 1/250th of a second, as opposed to the original FM2, which was 1/200th of a second. That's just a couple of little early improvements they made just after they started production. I think it was the early 90s, 91, 92 perhaps, that they actually stopped producing these cameras. And of course not a lot of people would know much about them these days, as everything seems to be shot in digital, but they still make film for them. It's still great to get out there, a little bit of old school style shooting. And I suppose if you can wait the anticipation of how you went, you need to wait until you have your film developed. Quite good these days. You can still get them processed in the hour or so. You can still do it, I think, around Kmart, Big W, I think still do them. It's quite a fast turnaround. However, I'm not too sure about the quality of the prints. There are a couple of other establishments around Brisbane, I know, that you can get them done and you can have them put onto a form of digital media storage, which is great, or you can throw it back in the computer and do a little bit of post-processing. But I'm more interested in knowing just how they turn out straight out of the camera. So this old camera I've had for quite a number of years, and it's really the only 35mm camera that I still have. They're actually just starting to go right up in price, so very much sought after, and if you can get one in a very good to mint condition, you can pay some premium dollars for them. The only thing really missing off this one is a little cover that goes here for the an external flash sync cable. You can actually get the larger flashes that go on top here on this hot shoe. In fact, if you want to do flash photography, you need the flash to go there. Apart from that, this camera is in very, very good condition. It's got very minimal signs of wear and tear on it. I bought it secondhand off eBay many years ago after actually having one of these brand new. Off the shelf, I think in about 1994, or just the body alone, I think I paid about 1,200 Australian dollars for it. So it goes to show how much value they had back then and how much they dropped when the digital era came in, but also now they're starting to climb back up there again. I had this camera put into Anderson's camera refurb, I suppose they are, refurb shop or cleaning shop or servicing agent or something like that. They are over at Capalaba in the Redlands, Brisbane, for recondition not so long ago, and well worth it. So to get this camera back in all new light seals and a new focal plane put inside, so I'm more than happy with it so far. So anyway, I've coupled it up with a little 28mm f2 Psychonon lens. I'm not sure I might have bought it with another Nikon camera that I had a number of years ago. But first up, what I want to do right now is just to show you, I've finished this film. We're going to show you how to take the film out, and we're going to pop a roll of the, not so flash, but it'll do, just because I'm just trying out, sort of experimenting here. So I'm going to put a roll of Kodak 400 in it, which is a colour film. This one here, Acros, of course, is a very well-known Fuji simulation type film, but this is a black and white. So in fact, the Acros black and white images are able to be replicated in the modern Fujifilm digital cameras, which is great fun also. But anyway, let's get into it and take this film out, and I'll have the film, once the film's out, I'll be able to show you how this camera works, and you know, wind a few things on and press a few buttons, and we'll take it from there. So to take the film out, what we have to do this little roller over here. We just have to lift that one up. This is a film winder, like so. To actually, before we do that, to actually make sure that the film is, well, it's finished. It's used up its 36 exposures. That's indicated on the front here. Front, right here, little window. It's hard to see on this. The lighting, my lighting setup is not brilliant at the moment, but I'll just maybe if I move this light here a little bit more, we might get a bit better downlight on it, bounce it back off the ceiling. Anyway, it's at the end of its tether. I think you can just see it there, 36. So I'm going to take it out, and to do that, on the bottom, there's another button underneath here. So all we have to do is just push that up, and that'll disengage the reel and make it available to rewind. And then we just simply, just in a clockwise direction, wind it, wind it, and wind it until you feel the film release, which means it's released from the mechanics of the camera, and it'll go back into the film holder. There we go. You can hear it and you can feel it loosen up as well. So that's all fully wound back inside the film canister right now. The other little handy thing is you'll see this little note on the back here. So basically, it's just a reminder. It just keeps you reminded as to what film you've got in there, because it's not like a digital camera where you can just change your settings from black and white to color to film simulation to all the different effects that come with it and everything like that. You can shoot 1,000 photos, delete what you don't want, keep what you want, download them, and Bob's your uncle. You have to shoot your film, you have to wind it, you have to take it out. And if you want to use another effect other than putting some filters on the front and what have you, you need to change the film. So this film is finished. It's back in its canister now, back in the case. So we're going to open it up, take it out, and put another one in. So we take this one up, we lift the roll up so we can get a good grip. There's this little button right here. So we push this little button lever down, and then we lift this up at the same time. Oh, there you go, it just fell out. So the door opens up like that. The little roll of film comes out. There's our 36 exposure Acros film, made by Fujifilm. I think they still make this one. I'm not sure, but there's some of the, if you want buy for 35mm and indeed medium and large format film, you can still buy them at some of the more notable shops that do the better processing as well. So check them out if you're into film photography and have a crack at it. Anyway, the camera's open. You can see here it's got a large door on there. There's a cover there for the back of the film. It actually puts a little bit of pressure on the film itself to keep it on track. Inside here, you can put the winder back down again, and you can see down there where the winder engages the canister. If I go to take a photo, I simply get this focusing right. You wind this on, and it won't wind anymore, and it will not fire if you're in a close that lever up like that. So it's a bit like a safety latch, I suppose, but you leave it like that, just out when you're ready to shoot. So you can have it wound on, ready to shoot, and just keep it in there for a little bit of security. You're not going to be able to take that photo. Pop it out halfway again, the first stage. You take your photo, bang, and just in here you see the little curtain flash open up and close again. So we just try that one more time, and there we go. You've just saw it again. So that's what lets the light through onto the film plane after the frame, and the light and the film will take care of the rest of it inside the camera to make the photo, provided you've done all your settings and everything are correct. So we're going to put a new roll of film in now. Inside there you'll see move that to the side. Inside there you'll see the film, the type of film that it is, the Kodak 400, 24 exposures on this one, and a film lead. We need this to, when we go to put it in the camera, to secure that tag, so that when we start winding, we actually pull it out of the canister. So basically, you'll see the little foot down the end here. That goes face down in the back of the camera, because the hole in the top is where your winder needs to go in. So put this in, then I can let this back down again. So that's not going to fall out. So we need to pull this across. You can see in here a groove. Okay, so what the idea is to get the end of this tail inside that groove, and then there's some gears on here. You can see them up the top there and down the bottom, that they'll eventually go into these little holes here on the top and the bottom of the film for it to grip and to help wind it on. So we're going to put that film in there, slot it in that little groove down the bottom, so we've got it over the top of the gears, and then we can just wind like this, and you'll see it as you wind it. Take the shot, wind it again, you'll see it pull around. Okay, when it's like that, it's okay. We can now close the back of the door. So the film has gone back across the back of the curtain, the shutter curtain, and then we'll just close this back, and then we'll just continue to take our shots until in the little window here we'll get up to the number 1. Very hard to see it, so we just keep going. Okay, we're there right now, so it's a bit hard to tell, but you can see the number 2, and then there's a number 1 just behind it. So I'm happy to there. There might be enough film through to start shooting anyway. There's generally a little bit on the start and the back of the film, so there's a bit more room to play with. Sometimes with a 24, you'll get 25 or 26 exposures, or maybe one of your photos will come out as half exposed and half not. The other half will be just all white. But anyway, we've got a different film in there now, so we're not going to leave this one. We're going to take this one back out again. It comes out like that. Just take it off like that. It's just a matter, as long as we've got some sort of indication in there. Okay, so I know what I've got in there now. I know if I look hard enough to the left there, that's a 400 24 exposure. That's the main thing I need to know. It's a colour film, 400 ISO, 24 exposure. So I've got ISO 400 film in there, which is good for a general purpose and on brighter days. So I'm just going to make sure that my ISO setting is at 400. So that's in this tiny little window here. We've got 50, there's a red one there which represents 100, then we go to 200. And then we just lift this little dial up and we turn it so the numbers inside that window will keep turning till we get to the 400. So the 200 and the 400 are actually red on this one. So the little indicator is sitting in between 200, 400 and 800. Look, I won't go on too much about this camera now. I'll do another video on the camera itself and how it actually functions and the beauty about it being completely manual. But that's about it. That's taking a film out of an old 35mm film camera, putting another film back in, getting it ready to go. Great little camera. No battery is in here, but not actually required for the use of the camera. It's only required because of inside the eyepiece there. Electronic view. It shows you a little zero, a little plus sign, or a little minus sign, and sometimes you'll see the 0 and the plus, which means you're slightly overexposed, and sometimes you'll see a 0 and a minus, slightly underexposed. So it takes a bit to tweak the settings, either the shutter speed, the aperture on the front of the lens, the rear of the lens, or the to change those settings to get your exposure correct, and your focusing. Make sure your focusing is right, and the focusing is all done through the front of the lens there. There is no auto zoom. This is a fixed 28mm lens. There is no auto focusing on this. Everything is manual. You need to know how to work out what your shutter speed you need, your aperture to your ISO setting, which is determined by your film that you have in there, to get the results that you're looking for. You can push your shots by changing your ISO. But you need to tell the developer when you put it in to get done that you've done that, so that they know not to try and make the corrections during the development to bring it back to the 400 or to whatever the ISO indicator is on the film. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it at that, and hopefully I'll get to another little video and show you the use of the camera while we're taking the photos, and how we've set it up and why I've set it up the way that I have, using the settings that I have, and how I go about actually finding out what settings to use, because there's no electronic feedback to tell me whether it's correct or not. Okay guys, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.